from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a classic episode of Sleep With Me, episode 344, Bernie and the Dust Motes. This is not Bernie the Butterfly's first appearance of the episode, or first episode in the podcast, and it's not his last, because I just recorded an episode with him when I'm recording this promo. So you'll hear more from You've heard more from Bernie, and this one has to do with dust motes. I don't even remember what's in this episode, but I know it's a classic. I know it's sleepy. I hear about it from listeners. It is a bit looser. There'll be a bit looser PG-13 language, probably some stuff like dusts and motes and stuff that we wouldn't we'd probably talk about it nowadays, but it's different. It's a different era. Sleep With Me, but we want them in 2025. We know a lot of people are leaning on the podcast. And so we want to make sure there's an extra episode a week out for you, at least during the January to May season of the show. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoy this. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And I do not know what you're waiting for. If you listen to the show, I really feel like I should hear from almost every single listener. Have you taken that Helix Sleep quiz, and which mattress did you get matched with? Because it's going to fit you and your sleep needs, just like my Helix fits mine. I love my Helix mattress. When I took the quiz a long time ago, wonderful long relationship I've had with my Helix. When I took that quiz, I wanted something where I could sleep on my side, I could sleep on my stomach. I don't want to get hot and stuffy. I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I picked the Helix Dusk Luxe. And night after night, that is what allows me to be here for you, is the good rest I get in my Helix mattress. So I'm happy with my Helix. Which Helix are you going to be happy with, right? Like, what are you sleeping in right now? Is it made for you and how you sleep? Did you and your partner take a quiz like the Helix quiz together and say, yeah, that's the one for us? Because you could do that right now with the Helix quiz. And then the mattress could come straight to your door, shipped free of charge, ready to go, and you could start your long-term relationship with a mattress that's there for you and how you sleep, what you prefer. Think about how much better you're going to be sleeping in that situation. And Helix always has a great deal, so get over there. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. All right, but we're trying this new thing called No Stone Unturned, where I'm going through these testimonials from real listeners who benefit from the show and looking at, hey, I know I benefit from the show. I know it makes my life better, but there was this one thing standing in my way of supporting it directly. So if this is the thing standing in your way, listen up. If you can afford to support the show, it makes your life better. If you rely on the show relies on you. All right, this comes from Sarah, who said, Sleep With Me helped me get better sleep and get out of my head when I was dealing with a lot of thinking. It's a way more valuable tool in my life than things I pay money for. Plus, I feel like Scooter's a friend in the deep, dark night. I mean, it seems wild, though, to pay for something that's free. Like, really, I could keep using the free version, right? But honestly, I wanted a better experience with story-only shows. I want to be able to skip the intro, not have a change in pace, not have the singing or the ads. And really, I can tell how much thought and support and personal commitment Scooter makes, and I want to support that. So, yeah, if you identify with what Sarah said, think about supporting the show back. But that's all it comes down to. Is Sleep With Me a part of your regular life? Does it make your life better? Are you listening to me right now? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And can you do so? Are you willing to support something back that supports you and your well-being? Are you that rebellious to overcome whatever's in the way and say, yeah, this makes my life better. I want it to be here. If that's true for you, don't wait. Support the show right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound or on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, if you're looking for access to Sleep With Me Plus, to access to ad-free episodes, but you're not in a financial position to support the show, you can earn those for free by referring people to free podcasts at our referral program, sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. If you're like, yeah, I can't afford to support the show, but I really want some of that sweet, sweet bonus content on Sleep With Me Plus, sign up for our referral program and send me an email. Thanks, everybody. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble falling asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. We do it with the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. And what I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's been keeping you up at night, whatever's got you tossing and turning, whether it's your mind thinking or your body, you got some kind of pain or discomfort or something emotionally you're going through. I'm going to try to take your attention off of that. I'm going to tell a lulling, soothing tale. I don't know, tonight we have a guest on, but you know, it'll be a different tale. It'll be a similar tale-like, but basically it's a bedtime story for grown-ups to just kind of, to give you something else to think about. The idea is you can't really concentrate on two things at once. In a bedtime, you really don't want to concentrate on anything. And you definitely don't want any kind of orange, remember, does orange juice still come in concentrate? But you don't have to concentrate on this podcast, I guess, is a message. Like, kind of listen to me. I'll try to be a little bit silly. I'll try to be soothing. I'll try to keep it all in a moderate tone. But you don't have to concentrate on what I'm saying. You can kind of loosely hold on to it. Almost like the difference, I think I've maybe used this metaphor before, but the difference between, well, let's do a guided metaphor. I don't know if I've ever done a guided metaphor before. If it goes anything like my guided meditations, but to try to give you an idea what the podcast is, I want you to lie back and relax and think about if an excellent podcast like Radio Lab or Nocturne or 99% Invisible, Mystery Show, any of those podcasts, if they were a snowball, and I want you to imagine you're kind of holding a snowball in your hand, and most of us, now some of you might have to use your imagination, you've never gripped a snowball, it's fine, I don't want to leave you out, it's just a big mass of like a ice, and you kind of pack it together, and you might have you probably have a pretty decent grip on it, but also the snowball, the story, the podcast in this case, has a kind of grip of its own, cohesiveness, probably a coherent shape, or rounded, maybe some dents from your fingers. It has some density, it has some mass to it, and when you hold it, it feels solid in your hand. And you're probably gripping away, you're like, well, I could do something with this if you're listening to one of those shows. It might just be visceral enjoyment, but you say, well, now I'm thinking about, street lights or neon or belt buckles or, lunch boxes or the meaning of life. And you say, well, whether you're a kid with a snowball, you think, well, who am I going to throw this at or what?
in a playful manner, ideally, kids. Come on. And porpoises. I know you don't have any opposable thumbs, but I've had you throw things at me. I'm positive it was you, porpoises. And now, so that's your normal everyday podcast. If you're here for the first time, this is a good time to be here because you're going about to be like, okay, this far, you can already tell this is like a normal podcast because he's talking and I have, it's coming through into my ears. And that's kind of where the similarities, the two paths diverge. Two paths in an audio, they say, okay, you're no Wadsworth or Longfellow or Frost. And I said, well, actually, we're using a Frost-based metaphor, so you're wrong. Just not Robert Frost. But you're standing there and you have this one stumble. No, my podcast, you're going to put it in your other hand. And believe it or not, it's a scoop of ice cream. And you're going to grip it. Okay, so you remember what that good quality top of the line podcast are. Now mine's more of a my podcast. It's you're gripping this thing of ice cream, and you may have a few reactions. Now I'm going to try to say, hey, this is ice cream's just the right temperature. It's a little bit lukewarm, and don't worry, you're in a place where you can drip everywhere. And so I'm trying to use my lulling ice cream like tones to kind of, take out the discomfort of holding ice cream. So if you can hold that, take that, if you're going to suspend any disbelief, say, hey, okay, I'm with you, Scoots. I'm holding a round scoop of ice cream in my hand. And I'd say, okay, let's start to do some, draw some conclusions here. Okay, this compared to some a bit drippy. It's a little bit different. It's got some sugary sweetness. It's multiple colors in there, and it's losing its cohesiveness. And it's more of a mass than a ball. It's a cream mass, and it could be a bit sticky, but it's also, you say, well, I could lick it too. And you say, and you might also say, well, I don't know if this belongs here. It kind of belongs in a cone. And I would say exactly, just like you belong in your bed. Talk about a John August style segue. You're exactly right. So it's like you might as well just eat that ice cream, and then you get a nice full belly feeling. And this is Ben and Jerry's latest shame-free ice cream. It's got it was remember the Sprites from a week or two ago? They churn the ice cream with magical butters and creams of fantasy because this is all but it's warm in your belly. Is warming it and melting it. And you say, okay, it's time to climb into bed because clearly, I think his first thing about snowballs, it was close. The ice cream metaphor kind of melted away and stopped. At some point, it was round and seen, but now it's just this puddle. And because you don't have, if someone walked in and they didn't have the context, they'd say, so if someone came in the room now, they didn't have the context that this was once ice cream. They'd say, what is this strange blue? And they say, okay, I'm just going to step over it and ignore it and go in the other room. So that's kind of best. So this podcast it's drippy, and it's and the rest of it, I don't know. I guess that kind of went nowhere, just like ice cream in your hand would. And this podcast belongs more in the bed. I guess that's why I said just don't hold on to this podcast because it's already melting, As soon as I start talking, the sense, when they say when he starts talking, it removes all doubt. And you say, okay, well, we're 8 minutes in or so. All doubt is probably removed. But what I really want to do is do this just to take your mind. I'm not 100% positive. I'm pretty fairly confident that during all this nonsense I've been doing, you might not have thought about all that other stuff. And maybe you started to nod off and say, well, yeah, I guess I don't have to grip this like a snowball because it's not a snowball. And it doesn't have that hefty feel or that cold contact, that visceralization as I just made up. It doesn't have that. It's a softer, like where I can spread my hands and then I say, well, that does feel good. Scooter's podcast is on the good side of goopy. If there's a good kind of goop, he's slinging the good goop. And then, okay, right in that millisecond, I heard from Wonka's lawyers, the company that controls the Wonka Corp. They said, that's a trademark term, but I'm still going to use it anyway. So, you know what, take me to the headquarters. You know, you want to sue me, let's do it, but right at your headquarters. So that'll backfire for somebody, you know, probably if the last few lawsuits with the Wonkas. You know, it's a Wonka family now, and I think it's just a term. But anyway, that's my podcast. You just hold it loosely and let it drip through your fingers. In this case, in your ears. But you can, you know, if you were to take a detached view as it melted in your hand, you'd say, well, it's not bad. You know, a bit not bad. It's kind of interesting. It's flowing. It's like flowing at a molasses pace. It's tactile-ish. Not as tactile as a snowball, but I can feel, you know, that little peppermint speck just floated past and through my fingers. And the whole reason I'm doing is I'm sending my voice here across the deep, dark night because I want to take your mind off this stuff. If you're having trouble falling asleep, getting to sleep, waking up, you know, I've been there. And I know it can be terribly lonely and terribly frustrating. So I want to just add a little silliness and, dare I say, a little friendliness. You know, I know this is just me talking and you're hearing it, but on some level it might be more than that. Maybe it's not. But for the time being, let's say it is that I'm just, you know, coming by to take your mind off of stuff and, you know, distract you from whatever it is. I want to help you fall asleep. And this seems to work for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. But if I can help you out, I'd love to do so. And I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you testing out this podcast. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. So thanks for stopping by.
All right, everybody, this is Scoots here. This is a particular message. I'm going to be reading a testimonial from somebody who supports the show directly. This message is only for people that, you know, you get a lot out of the podcast. You listen to it 2 or more times a week. If you listen all night long, or you listen to like 10 episodes a month, 12 episodes a month, you're the one I'm trying to get the message to. If you can afford to support the show, if you lean on the podcast, if it makes your life better, listen close to this testimonial and see if you identify with anything this listener said, because this is how we're able to be here for you. If you count on the podcast, we really do count on you to support the show back, but only if you're able to. And the podcast makes your life better. If it's a part of your life, I'd love it if you'd be a part of the life of the podcast, because that's how we're able to be here for you. All right, this comes from Sarah, who said, sleep with me helped me get better sleep and get out of my head when I was dealing with a lot of thinking. It's a way more valuable tool in my life than things I pay money for. Plus, I feel like Scooter's a friend in the deep, dark night. I mean, it seems wild, though, to pay for something that's free. Like, really, I could keep using the free version, right? But honestly, I wanted a better experience with story-only shows. I want to be able to skip the intro, not have a change in pace, not have the singing or the ads. And really, I can tell how much thought and support and personal commitment Scooter makes, and I want to support that. So, yeah, if you identify with what Sarah said, think about supporting the show back. But that's all it comes down to. Is sleeping me a part of your regular life? Does it make your life better? Are you listening to me right now? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And can you do so? Are you willing to support something back that supports you and your well-being? Are you that rebellious to overcome whatever's in the way and say, yeah, this makes my life better. I want it to be here. If that's true for you, don't wait. Support the show right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus.
Hey, everybody, it's Scooter here, and it's time for another Trending Twitter Tuesday. But I guess I should set this up. I think it was a couple Sundays, whatever intro where I was talking about getting rid of that TV. I kind of stirred up some trouble. Well, I stirred up some dust, like I said some stuff about the dust motes, and I don't know if this is the case with everybody or... like just with me, but apparently my dust motes are sentient, and like, so that wasn't, and I mean, I know it sounds like I was joking that they said, hey, we're having a party in these cabinets that were blocked for an entire year. And then as soon as they got rid of that TV, they said, well, this is, I think what do they call it? Eminent domain. It turns out they have an attorney. So they said, they sent me a bunch of documents and they said, this is abandoned cabinets. And I said, well, there's stuff in there. Yeah, they said abandoned stuff. And they said, and I said, well, whose law? Are these the dust mote laws or the human laws? And then they said, you won't question your honor. And I said, not this. I said, what is it with me and judges and stuff? And I said, okay, I don't understand any of this dust motes. I just want to, ideally, I said, I would not want to live in, I said, can't we live somewhere, like this is where I live. It's, it's not the, and then they said, don't try reverse confusion on us or whatever. They said, whatever a normal person would call it either. And I said, okay, I'll just call reverse confusion because, I know what you mean though. And then they said, they even started, they had a protest one night when I was they said, oh no, dust motes won't go. And like a lot of good protests, they followed up with a big, potluck supper and then party, more of a board game party. But they sounded, and I said, hey, what games do dust motes play? And then they said, then they sent me something that said a cease and desist or I don't know. So I say, hey, listen, if the dust motes attorney or justice system can hear me, I was saying this out loud the other day. I said, I said, why don't can you send can you guys hire a spokesperson to explain it to me? Ideally, on a trending Twitter Tuesday, so I can make it into a podcast episode as well, which will more than likely, get me not to buy a vacuum, which will supersede. I know if I had it, I said, what are those Dyson things? They said, what does the latest Consumer Reports say about those? Should I go with that or should I go old school? And you never heard of dust mote when you say Dyson. And I said, well, I want to get one of those ones with suction. And they said, that's all vacuums. And I said, right, it doesn't matter, does it? I said, maybe I'll get 2 used vacuums. And then I said, I could just picture that, the double arms of the law. And you couldn't, then that was when the joke should have been, you never heard of dust motes move so fast. And you really can't because they're dusty, so they're very silent. They're stealthy. And I know I don't want to pitch Quentin Tarantino on anything, but I know they're coming out with that part 3 of the movie with Uma Thurman. I said you should get some dust motes in there because they're ninja-like. Anyway, so I said, can you guys? And so they did hire someone. They're coming by right now. Like the dust mote spokesperson, they think that's what they're called, to send me, to tell me their ultimatum or whatever. And ideally, it'll be a good episode. I don't know what it'll be like. I'm buying time because they're not here, and I don't know who it is. And I said, I don't know if I'm quite in the emotional place where I could get a vacuum. So it was a bit of a, bluff. And I said, they're kind of cute. Or, I feel bad because I love saying mote-mobile. I said, I could say mote-mobile. And then even the way that they say, hey, how do you like my mote-mobile that you stepped on? And I said, well, good thing it's made out of dust, right? And dog hair. And I think my dog's in with them. So she definitely supplies them with building materials. And then the dog, I was dog sitting this recently. She was definitely left a ton of hair behind. Because at one point they said, give us a double. Well, pretty much the whole time I was dog sitting, they said, hey, double pet time. And they said again. And then they would just have me, petting them. That's when I wish I had the 2 vacuums, But instead I was just petting 2 shedding dogs. I guess that was a trick because then the motes were just, picking up as thousands and thousands of dog hairs. They were just taking them. And I think they called them Mote Central. What are they called? I don't know. Mote something, the new building. And I said, hopefully they don't annex my bed because, that's pretty far away. And I have a window open and a fan, so I don't think they can get past there currently, because of the crosswinds. So, yeah, I'm just buying time till their thing gets here. Maybe I'll look up what's trending on Twitter, just in case. All right, so, wait, I hear somebody. So, and they said I got to clear out, so, off the mic. So, oh, great. Oh, boy. Look who it is. How did Motes get Gatorade? Hi, I'm Bernie the Butterfly here. For those of you, the podcast guy, he's always looking at me already. My name is Bernie the Butterfly, official spokesperson for Dust Motes of this domicile. And I'm here, nature talks back. Dust motes are creatures of nature. And when nature needs to talk, nature talks back. Boom. When nature needs to talk back, they hire Bernie the Butterfly. Now, I realize a lot of you who's never known who I am. Well, I happen to be let's be honest here, the most popular butterfly in the known butterfly world. If, the lone butterfly, minor level celebrity, and we all know if LeVar Burton had his way, there'd be no butterfly celebrities except for the ones that he imprisons within his animation that he thinks he could just say, oh, just take the butterfly's picture and, we'll write a whole show about it and all that. So I have appeared on the show before to express my displeasure with 1, humans, 2, LeVar Burton, 3, humans, 4, podcast boy, 5, whoever the hell wrote Owen and Mazzee, to frickin', Nature Strikes Back. 6, I like, who did I like? The 5 Seconds of Summer. Ashton. I think I forget. I haven't seen those guys in so long. Now I forget who my friend was in that group. There's Green Hair, which, and then there's the guy who thinks he's tough. And Green Hair, I kind of like. I said, I feel bad for you, Green. He plays the drums, I believe. And then there's the tough guy who says, "Oh, I'm kind of, handsome and quiet, and him I could, give a take." Then there's Ashton. And then there's my friend. I forget my friend's name. Or my friend's with Ashton. Well, I forget. I do know that Ashton was the one. He was the most savvy of them. And I kind of said, oh, boy, he gets on my nerves with all his good answers. Because I did do an interview with the 5 Seconds of Summer. You may have not heard of it since it got all banned and everything. Because the people said, oh, boy. They said a drunk butterfly. I said, first of all, it's Gatorade, you fools. And, well, second of all, it gives me a buzz like maybe a human does. But I say it's just sugar. It's what I need to survive, which people would deprive me of. But anyway, I'm not here with a list of grievances on behalf of butterflies with the human beings because, I don't think I have all the time in the world to deal with you people, But it is my honor to be here representing the Dust Motes. And I'm here to present the podcast boy who is right here with I have myself a 5-word acceptance speech. If you would have accepted this, I forget what the Dust Motes called it. It's a legal document. And here's as I hand it to you, I say, you are screwed, butthead. That's a 5-word acceptance speech. Because much like Agent Carter, I'm sweeping in here to set things right. Nature strikes back, boom. Because you're here and you think because you live in an apartment, you own the place. 1, you rent it. And 2, the Dust Motes have just as much of a right to exist as you do with your potting around. And you're saying, well, but I'm not here to make a legal argument because that would be nonsensical because obviously the pod boy, we all know he's a nice enough fellow. In the Dust Motes, we don't want this to become an us versus them situation. Because I talked to them, I said, these humans, they don't stop. And then they say, oh, we love butterflies. Come here, let me pin you down. Oh, well, we love you so much. You're so beautiful. And so I'm here to, and they say, well, butterflies don't. And that's the other thing. They say, well, you don't have a plastic brain, butterfly. You have no plasticity. Well, wrong. Okay. Not only do I have plasticity within this butterfly brain of mine, I don't have tolerance for your intolerance of my brain that you say is not made up of, gray matter, because your opinion don't matter to Bernie over here. What matters is my pathways, humans, are being neurally rearranged. And I say, hey, doing battle with you and LeVar, you say, how are you going to, you can't win against LeVar Burton. He's got that smile that even I say, I would not mind having a Gatorade with LeVar Burton. Right at the edge. I say, LeVar, look at this edge of the ocean here. Let's get here a little closer here. And look at those waves. And how's that song go? Butterfly in the sky. Did you say you could fly twice as high? But my friends, I'm not here, to air, intractable situations. I'm here to Bernie the Butterfly. On behalf of Mother Nature, by the way, who the dust motes are within her kingdom. And let's just start right there, because the podcast boy, his eyes just went wide at that, and I could hear his brain, just barely like a lawnmower that has not had gasoline or been used in 25 years, making a noise. And that pungent smell. I said, what are you, a two-stroke engine up there? But yes, bad boy, and the rest of you judge, you humans knee-jerking yourselves. Dust motes are within themselves a kingdom of Mother Nature's kingdom. And I can hear you science types that have bigger brains than in this room right about now. Because I just, I'm a butterfly. My brain is not huge. I just make the most of it. Which maybe you could learn from that one day and try making the most of the earth we're on together. Oh, wait, you already do that, but you don't, you just say, well, I'm human. Like I said, well, I'm hungry for some soda pop. And, I just throw it in the garbage. Oh, he's saying that I drink Gatorade. Okay, that was a thing. Like right now, I need a little because I'm here representing a kingdom. But so, you might say, well, let's see. I had a little project for my friends there in the Dust Mote Kingdom. And I said, let's start a little thing like they have Dear Abby. Let's start with Axpex. And I say just like pretend you're like a Mother Nature interpreter for the humans on behalf of the Dust Mote Kingdom. And they said, Bernie the Butterfly, we don't understand. And I said, Dust Motes, I know I'm much more intelligent than you. But you're a collective of beings, so let me try. Dear Bex, I'm a silly human that likes to chase butterflies in my spare time. Discover and investigate too far why crickets make such beautiful sounds. And I heard a funny bird say that dust motes were alive, and I think I told my father, and he said, yeah, well, if they are, let's get rid of them. So, dear Bex, please tell me you're not alive, you dust motes, and that, like Papa said, they're just a sign I have not done my chores. Little Becky, the butterfly catcher. Oh, my face, save little Becky, the butterfly catcher. Age 9, with an intelligence of about a 5-year-old, if you ask me. Okay, Becky, this is Bex here. Oh, it's so nice to have your letter and to finally find a young little human interested in learning about the natural world. You might be surprised to know when you're stomping on us and sweeping us and crying your tears into us because you don't feel like doing your chores, even though you've been pampered and spoiled your whole life, that we have not. We are our own kingdom of living things and all sorts of things from around your house, and we tend to coagulate and, You know, little Becky, we know you're not, we dust motes, we say, well, maybe Becky will get a job one day. So we can't explain to you the way we drift around and we gather mass and we attract different things and we become our own little ecosystem here. And at some point, we wised up to what your family, your parents and your lovely caretakers and the generations of colonists that became before you, it set up an economic system. Oh, Becky, we know that you all, we said, well, if we're a little collective of an ecosystem, maybe, and you might say, was this some sort of evolutionary jump where we as a collective mote, each mote became, well, to put in a term you may not understand, Becky, but other people might, we reached mote singularity. And so all of us motes here, we said, hey, I'm a mote. I'm more than the mass of myself. The sum of my parts are greater than the whole and all that. And for once in my, lives, which is now a life, we've got to advocate for ourselves because they say, what, if there's not the house to gather in, what would be our next step? Because this is working pretty darn good. And from there, Becky, we started to develop preferences. There is a hierarchy of mote needs as well. It's very similar to human needs. Now, we get a lot of our moisture from your air. Would you believe that's one thing you humans actually really do well when you're doing all your talking about your dolls and your billions of toys you don't even play with and asking where they are? You're filling the air with moisture for us to go get by on. And would you believe it, Becky, all that food that you just don't finish and you act like, oh, I don't know, and all sorts of natural processes that are going on with you, like your skin is replacing itself and some such things. That gives us plenty of stuff to live on, as you might say. Which leads us to a bit of the crux of our problem, because ideally we would, slowly, as we've passed singularity, we would further develop on, and then but we're actually dependent on you. Unfortunately, we have, accessed some databases of yours and done some computer modeling, and it turns out we're going to need you humans around. Believe it or not, we're tied to you a bit. Which brings us to this particular argument here in the household we're in, Becky. Now, your neighbor has the pineapple pants, the blue pineapple pants and the red jumpsuit that he wears around the house. Yes, him, the one with the dog he talks to in a baby voice about broccoli. And they listen to people knocking on doors. That's the hobby. Oh, you call him Mr. Bushface. Well, that's pretty fitting. I think I may change that as well. Can we put that on the legal documents? Plaintiff Mr. Bushface. Well, thank you, Becky. And that was a lovely thing. So we have to declare by that little article there by Ask Bex. Great job, Bex. Actually, that's my pen name. As part of my lobbying package for any other natural creatures or collectives looking for representation with a direct line to Mother Nature, Bernie the Butterfly is at your service for certain amenities and Gatorade. And not made up Gatorade, Stella J's that say, oh, no, we have Gatorade. We made it ourselves. Homemade Gatorade is not Gatorade, okay? And the same goes for your Cardinals, because I don't know what the heck the difference. Blue Jays, Stella Jays, Cardinals, you're all bird brains to me. So no, you're all off my list. Unless it'll be a double case of Gatorade. And I'm a little bit worried about the ingredients in the orange, so I'm going to stick to the fruit punch and the lemon lime. Thank you. And yes, of course, I would need some Super Frost or whatever that new brand is called. So now your next questions might be, as humans, and I can see the bad boy, what are dust motes? Now, the dust motes, and I will be using the term we to represent my employer, the dust motes of your apartment here, Pod Boy. What do we do for fun? Because you might say, ask, press, play. You know, what games do dust motes partake in? And that's where we got lucky, us dust motes here in this particular place, because most of the games, we call it the best show in 2016, the best show in 2015. And, you know, since you abandoned that TV in 2014, the best show, because we just watched a little Pod Boy. And, oh, boy, I got to tell you, the entertainment, and it'd say unintentional entertainment, holy moly. So as dust motes and as a butterfly, to be honest, I go to a lot of mote parties where there's different games we can play. There's mote commentators, so they commentate on what Scooter's doing. There's like a mote, we have a quiz show every night at 6:45 p.m. You know, what's Scooter thinking? We watch your forehead for most of that, and and the motes are pretty good. They say, well, look at that. See that, how that wrinkle there, see how it's fluctuating? And I said, I never noticed that. I'm always distracted by the giant trough in the middle of his head, but it's lost all meaning to me. I say, is that pensive? Is it anger? Is it displeasure with life, or is it all of the above? And then we usually mostly we laugh. Oh, is it Pod Boy? Oh, Mr. B, what do we call you, Mr. Bushface? How about Professor Bushface? How's that? Dr. Bushface, even better. The motes, they said that, Scooter. And then we say, you know, a lot of times we just have everybody on call. So when Scooter does starts doing weird stuff, the alarm goes out. And no offense to you, Pod Boy, but not even just me and the motes like to watch. But, you know, a lot of the creatures, you know, the squirrels, the birds, so the Stella Jays are not welcome. The mourning doves, they really get a kick out of it. Did you know that they're commenting when they make those sounds when they see you? Usually like a recap. Like, it was just the other day, Scooter, you were playing a game you called Cap 75. And we were just trying to figure out what was happening. And you were just, I think you were just trying to doff a cap for 75 times. And while you drank your tea with your pinky out, we were also saying, well, it's okay. And, but that one got boring. I said, but until we realized it's a bit like a Warhol thing. Because we said he's not going to stop till he tips off his cap 75 times. So then it went from boring to both sad and totally entertaining. And then you pretended like you were, I know you like the guy that makes the show Chicago Fire. And, you know, that writer, Derek, I think is his name. And that always makes us laugh because then we think of how Morley Safer thought your name was Derek. And he still does. So then we call him. And actually, he likes to watch. We say, hey, Morley, Derek's acting weird. And he says, Bernie, how the hell are you? And I say, he said, did you get the Gatorade I sent? I said, yes, I did, Mr. Safer. And you know, as Pod Boy, he knows me by first name. That's just by calling a butterfly. I'm not even a human. And Bernie, you know, he knows my name, Bernie. And then a lot of times, you know, if we're bored, we'll come up with a game based on things you were doing, Pod Boy. So we came up with the game Dance Moms, where we pretend, you know, we think about all your memories of your tap dancing. And we actually did a show. It was called Dance Moms. And it was when you were crying at one of your dance recitals, which I know you say you did not do. You just cried at the dance classes. You know, and I penned this one. It was called Dance Moms for, you know, and I think this would, you know, properly emasculate you further, but that you cried at your recital. And then all of the moms got up on stage and started dancing with you. And it's a whole show. I don't have it totally. I only have the first act. Act 1, Scooter cries. Act 3, Scooter cries. So, the second act, needs some work. Act 2A. No, 1A. What was the second part of one? Mothers go on stage for pitying little Scooter. And in Act 2, I guess I could write it right now. The girl Scooter has a crush on Snickers and then giggles. No, giggles, cross that out. What's something like giggles, guffaws. Bert, what do you call it when you're holding your hand over your mouth like you don't want to laugh? Outburst, some kind of outburst, humiliating, double underline. Dance moms. So that's another thing we like to do. I like to do with the dust motes. And Scooter, this is all about finding your roots, because I noticed you like the word mote-mobile. And, we love our mote-mobiles. You wouldn't believe how much fun you could have in a mote-mobile, even about now. And I created the first flying mote-mobile. Of course, then we went outside and we lost those motes. So that was a little, but that was a fixer-up situation because, we had lost, I said, it was fun. But then, there's plenty of them, it's a collective. And I would say, okay, here we go with the Geordie LaForge questions about the Borg. And I would say, you know what, we'll save it. The motes were not the Borg. All we want to do is coexist because unfortunately we've adapted. And again, I'm speaking in the royal we. Oh, also, I'm going to become the king of the motes. Did I mention that as part of the agreement? Also, birds, that's part of the agreement. It's not just Gatorade anymore. You may or may not have heard, I'm the king. I'm the king of the, I have the ladybugs. I have the grasshoppers. I have the earthworms. They love me. They said, they call me the royal family. And I say, I don't know. And I say, oh, wait, do you guys know you don't have eyes, I guess, and I have this big wings. Yeah, so we got the mobiles. I'm trying to think of what other things. Okay, so Scooter, we would wish you a couple other things if we're going to. So let's find some common ground. How about that? Could we find some common ground to agree on? If we start with the fact you're never going to do anything with those cabinets at all, because we say, oh, poor Scooter, he gets, a little bit emotional angst, we'll call it. And you say, try being a collective of dust-based, living system. You want emotional angst or a butterfly in this world, this day and age with after the, Burton started the trouble for us. But so let's do, what if we could find some common ground is what I would say. And how about we do this, Scooter, why don't you lie down? And in the interest of just having you give up and say, well, let's just, what about a little stasis? And I'll let you in on a little dust mote party. And I think that'll normalize things for you and you'll just give up. And you'll say, well, if the dust motes aren't going to bother me much, I'm emotionally incapable of bothering them, and I'll never buy a vacuum, ever buy a vacuum, ever buy I Scooter will never buy a vacuum. If I do buy a vacuum, I'll keep it with all those other things that I've bought, and like the Swifter and the thing you bought with that you kind of use sometimes. And the glass cleaner that you've never opened. Yes. Okay, so that's good. So, Scooter, why don't you lie back and just rest your eyes and picture yourself riding across your floor in a sweet mobile with your good friend Jimmy the Mote behind the wheel, greatest mote driver who's ever driven a mobile. Or lost himself in a winter wind, one of Bernie's favorite motes. Oh, to answer another question you might have, Scooter, yes, there are mote ghosts. So, that'd be another downside of vacuuming the motes, mote ghosts. But yeah, picture yourself driving the floor as you're in this mobile. You've shrunken down, so the floor is an endless plain At first glance, you think you're on, the Salton Sea Flats or whatever the hell they're called, racing across. But as the mobile starts to pick up speed, you notice the inconsistency in the levelness of your floor. And you start to get a nice steady thumping and thumping as the mobile starts to travel in a large oval around your room. The centrifugal force of the speed of the mobile and the steady thumping and thumping of the floor puts you in a hypnotic state that is so, you say, this is the perfect speed. This is what it means to be behind, next to the person behind the wheel of a mobile. And you're traveling and you're bouncing. And there's just a barely noticeable breeze, just enough breeze to comfort you and put you at ease. And you start to think to yourself as the thumping and the vibration of the mobile comforts every cell in your collective being. And you say to yourself as your cells vibrate and the mobile vibrates, and you realize the mobile is in essence a mote. And you realize the mote next to you driving the mobile is also a mote. But both separately and together are so much more. And suddenly you say to yourself, I'm feeling a connection. But then you get drifted back into the motion, the slow oval motion and the thumping of the floor. And then you start to feel yourself vibrating in a way that your muscles start to uncurl and you start to feel loose, like there's air between your muscles, like there's air between your cells, giving it space to breathe as the mobile still travels in a large circle, bumping over each tiny notch in your floor, each bump not disturbing you, but making you feel more at ease. And you say to yourself, I am just like a mote. It is nice to be in this mobile with my friend the mote. And then you realize that you have reached one of those states some may call equilibrium. You may call, I know Scooter's always talked about when he's on a ski lift. He hasn't been on one who knows how long. That it creates a hypnotic layover into his dreams, where he'll dream of being on a ski lift all night, the night after, or 2 nights after. But in this particular situation, you are out of the mobile, but you are in essence still within it in some sort of state just like that. And as you walk from the mobile parking area, the upgraded mobile parking area, the expanded mobile parking area you have agreed to, heretofore in perpetuity, you say to yourself, wow, man, this is expansive. And you feel your teeth hum, and you feel your ears hum in a good, comforting way. Your hair follicles, they hum, Scooter. And you say, wow, man, this ain't half bad over here. And then you drift through an open cabinet drawer, and you say to yourself, man, are my feet even on the ground, or am I drifting or rolling or gliding across the floor as you go into a mote party and everybody knows who you are and they see you and they smile, but they smile in a way that's both unfamiliar and so familiar, in a way that's from a head to a toe smile. The smile that only a mote can emote, as they say, and you say, yeah, I still feel like I'm in that mobile. and it feels good, man. And then you go deeper in the body and you start to notice a low, dull bass going. And you say, is that calypso? And then you feel something where your hips used to be, but it's a general area of freedom, no longer constricted by your inability to know where your hips were in the first place. And you start to dance with these motes, and you say, man, these motes can move, they glide. They spin, they twirl, they float, and now I'm floating along with them, man. I'm a mote, and it feels good, and I feel connected to all these other motes. In some sense, we really are all collectives of different things. And then you're thinking deep, man, but you're dancing at the same time, and you're not thinking at all. Both things are going on independently but collectively, and it makes you identify with motes even further. And then you dance over, and you feel a pen in your hand, and you're signing papers, man. You're saying, wow, is this a mote point, ballpoint, mote pen, or what? As I sign this contract, permanently granting rights for domicile within these 2 cabinets and 3 more forever. And you say, man, I love my motes. And you're like, wow, wow, wow. And then you go back outside and you feel the cool air and you say, man, is this what it feels like to be a mote at night? And the motes say, this is what it always feels like. And then you get down to the edge of the parking lot, and all the motes are gathered. And they say, hey, man, we got something for you. And you say, what? Because I was aware I was signing that contract. Am I being played for a fool? Was I hypnotized by riding a mote-mobile in circles across the floor? Or have I entered some strange 1930s, 50s jazz film? I don't know. And they say, no, we got you your own mote-mobile, made up of, with your own cells. And every part of this mote-mobile is made from you. It's all a part of you. Take it for a spin, man. And then come see us. Because we want to live in a collective within a, yeah, man, snap it. Scuba-de-dop, scat city. And then you're riding in your own mote-mobile, Scooter. You're trucking, but you take care because it's your own mote-mobile. It's your own form of hair cells and skin cells, but you can feel a connection and you can feel your mote-mobile trucking across the floor. And you suddenly feel at ease like you've never felt before. You feel like the essence of your moteness. And now you know, Scooter, anytime you feel at war with yourself or the world, you could say, this is what they've taught me, Scooter. It's me, Bernie the Butterfly here. I'm sorry to interrupt all that, but I've been learning the mote way of life, Scooter. And that's what that little thing was there. That little what do you call it? A motivation. And I think it's a way they're telling me. They're telling me, Scooter, that I could learn to live in harmony. Oh, the joys. You also promised me Gatorade if I ended the show on a positive note. And so, man, I'm going to scuba it off into the mote way of life. Collectives, respectives, perspectives, and just vibes, man. It's a mote, cruising foxtails, but they're mote's tails. And that's all we need to find. A little mote peace of mind. Good night from Bernie the Butterfly over here, and little podcast boy. Thank you.
Everybody, this is Scoots with a Tuck You In message from someone who supports the show. And here's what it comes down to. If you're listening to me right now, do you listen to Sleep With Me on a regular basis? If the answer is no, don't worry about anything I'm going to say after this. Can you afford to support the show back? at like $10, 27, 10, $20 a month. If it's no, or if you don't have something like a subscription, you say, do I even use that? And that costs like $10 a month. I could be giving that to Sleep With Me. That makes my life better. But that's all it comes down to. Like, do you listen to Sleep With Me on a regular basis? Do you listen all night? If you listen all night, it can't be more critical that I get your attention. But yeah, if you listen to 2, 3, 4 episodes a week, like 10 episodes a month, the podcast actually makes your life better, and you count on the podcast. I got to tell you, we count on you to support the show back if you count on the podcast. People that just like listen casually, they don't count on the podcast like you do. And those are the people we need to support. We need to support the show back. We count on them. We count on listeners like you. So I'm going to read something from somebody that counts on the podcast and that supports the show back. But yeah, if all that is true, if Sleep With Me makes your life better, help us keep making your life better and support the show at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And this is Natalie from Ireland. I've been a supporter since 2017 or 18. I don't even remember how long it's been. I chose to support Sleep With Me because Scooter helped take my mind off the day's stressors. And something spoke to me about the creativity of the show. And I felt as a working artist, Scoot's art should be supported so others can listen when they need something to take their mind off of whatever they're feeling. So thank you, Natalie, for supporting the show. And I really appreciate it if you relate to what Natalie said. Think about supporting the show back at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus.